Can you hear okay? Is the sound good? I'm so excited to do this video.
Karen says hi.
Hey Karen, how are you? Karen is tuning in from New Zealand. I miss New Zealand so much. Haven't been there in so long.
Karen says, I should be in bed, but I saw this pop up and just had to jump right in.
That must mean it's late there.
Yeah, it's probably about midnight.
Well, I feel honored that you're sacrificing sleep to hang out with me, Karen. I hope you can sleep in the morning. We'll give people about 1 more minute to join, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the live. And while we're waiting for them to join, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about what comes with the starter kit. If you would pick up the starter kit of the Famous Relief from Famous Names, you can see the products here that are in the set. It does come with the Callus smoother, the foot file, and it comes with all of the products you need to get started, with the exception of the CBD ELIXIR.
I can't see the box.
Oh. That's right, I moved the camera so you could see your feet instead of the box. So I'll bring this down here by the feet. So all of the products that you need to get started, with the exception of the CBD ELIXIR, come in the starter box. The elixir, the CBD ELIXIR, would be what you would use to take it from the gold pedicure up to the platinum pedicure. And they do suggest that you charge additional for the platinum pedicure when you add that CBD ELIXIR. Pop that back up there. And the Famous Names suggestion for an upcharge is $8 to $10 US. And the foot file is stainless steel. It's got a rougher side and a smoother side so that you can get the heavier callus. And remember, we smooth, not remove, and then soften it up a little bit with the smoother side. It does come with a really cool step-by-step guide for the platinum and the gold pedicures. And today was going to be the winner of my Facebook contest. It was going to be one of my winners, and she had to text in sick this morning. So instead of doing what we thought was going to be one of my winners, we are coming to you live from the Airbnb that I got out of town for last night, and I'm using my friend that traveled with me, and so we are doing it all fancy at the Airbnb, a little bit different than what we were expecting. And her toes are already done because I did them when we got in, because we weren't expecting to do it this way. And she's a little camera shy, so you're not quite getting the same conversation with a salon professional that we expected, because we had already promised you a live, so you're still getting the live.
It says chat disconnected. Please wait until we try to reconnect you.
Let me make sure that it's still connected here and not disconnected there. Okay, so that's probably an internet issue. Let me disconnect.
It does say successfully connected again.
Okay. Ask them if they got disconnected or if it's just my laptop. I'm gonna take my phone. So is the Video signal staying good for you guys and just going out on the laptop. Is everything staying okay for you guys? Make sure the technical issues are just with the laptop and not with the video feed. There's probably a little bit of a lag between when I ask them a question and when they can send an answer. So you'll have to, like, I'll ask them a question and there'll probably be like 1 or 2 minutes before they can actually answer the question. So for those of you that are re-watching, or for that whole little lag thing, while we're giving you a chance to answer the question, it does come with this cool step-by-step for the gold pedicure and the platinum pedicure using the pedicure system of the Famous Relief. And then if you're doing a dry pedicure, which is what we're gonna do here, you can print out the dry pedicure the dry pedicure protocol right off of the Famous Names website, which is what I did. I went in and printed off the dry pedicure protocol off the website. And what I'm gonna do is actually follow the protocol to show you that it really is easy to follow the protocol right off the website and use it for your salon step-by-steps. So I'm actually gonna move that up here so that I can follow it for you and show you that they really did put a lot of thought into the dry pedicure protocol for you, so that you didn't have to, like, sometimes you have to print it off and they've put so much extra stuff in there, you're like, what? And it's really confusing. Or someone has written it that has never really actually done pedicures and they skip a lot of things, or the step-by-steps don't make any sense and you're like, who wrote this? Like, have they ever even had a pedicure, much less done one? And so it's really cool because you can tell that it was written by someone that does pedicures, understands pedicures, and there's not a bunch of extra weird things. It's like, this is actually how you do pedicure, and it's fantastic. So I'm actually gonna follow it to show you how fantastic it is. All right, do we have a thumbs up? Everybody can see, the sound is good? Perfect. So she is going to help me out with your comments. So if you have questions as we're going through, please ask your questions, because she's going to keep me hooked up, because I can't see my phone way over there shooting the live. So she's got my laptop and she's going to keep me connected to you as we go. So ask your questions as we go. So here in my handy dandy cooler bag, we have hot soft landing towels to be our hot towels. We used the tea kettle this morning to make hot water. Ooh, and they stayed hot. I'm so excited. It's actually burning my hand through the gloves.
Oh, thanks.
I'll cool it off before I put it on your feet. I'm so excited you get warm towels. I was so worried you would have cold towels and have to, like, fake them being nice. So your first step is obviously to clean the feet. I'm going to use this nice warm towel. And in the salon, you can use your salon towels, or you can use soft landings if you prefer a disposable towel. When I'm traveling, I love to use the soft landings because then I don't have to worry about wet towels in my car. Because sometimes I forget to take them out right away, or I'm traveling to more than one location and then they get a little smelly. And when it's hot, like it is right now, they get a little icky if you have them in there for more than one day. And when you're doing the dry pedicure, if you wanted to, you could add just a smidge of the soap to the towel so that they have that nice eucalyptus scent. And depending on if they're ticklish or not, you could come and clean between each of the toes. And I like that to take that opportunity to just kind of pull the toe to the side before I clean to check if there's anything in between the toes that I need to let the client know they should be concerned about, especially my clients that I know are diabetic. So I just lightly pull the toe to the side a little bit and then go down and clean it. Because sometimes diabetics will just have a little bit of a crack down in there or a little bit of a tear in the skin, and they need to be made aware of that because they don't realize that they've maybe caught it on something, or sometimes their skin tears really easily there, and you need to let them know about that. It's really important because they can't feel their feet very well once they get to a certain stage of their diabetes. And so then I will ask them if they would like me to take a picture of that and text it to them.
Karen asks, did you say you were using a hot water bottle to heat the soft landing towels?
I actually, because I'm at an Airbnb and not the salon, I used a tea kettle and boiled water in the tea kettle. And then I poured the hot water into a measuring cup full of rolled up soft landing towels. And then set that inside of my Trader Joe's coolie bag. So if you were a mobile technician going from house to house, like a mobile traveling nail professional, you could keep them in a cooler bag like that to keep them warm. There are small, they're not crock pots, they're actually designed to be towel steamers. There are little tiny towel steamers for the salon. So looking at the step-by-steps, after you have done the cleaning of the feet to sanitize them, you're going to remove your polish, trim and file the toenails, and then spray the CUTI-CAL, which is this. You would spray it on the toenails. And like I mentioned, she wasn't expecting to be the model, so we've already done her toenails. And go along and trim the toenails, shape them, and then we would also spray the CUTI-CAL on any calluses that she has. This is also going to be our callus product. So I'm going to put one of the soft landings up here and bring her foot up so that I can spray that on that callus area. And wrap it in a hot towel. And it just needs to be wrapped for 2 minutes. Ooh, that smells so good. How do you set your foot on that? I'm just gonna wrap her up in that like a little beauty. And set it down on the floor. And I took before pictures of one of the feet so that I can take an after picture, and I'll post that on Instagram and Facebook for you.
Karen asked, is it called CUTI-CAL? C-U-T-I-C-A-L.
Yes. And there's a little hyphen between the I and the C.
So it would be C-U-T-I hyphen
Yep.
C-A-L.
Yes. Bend for me. There you go. needs to be removed with water. So after I bring her out of the hot towel, I'm gonna use another that I don't wring out as well, so it's a little more wet, to clean it off, and then use the foot file to remove the callus. If you have someone that's a little heavier calloused, you can actually spray a little bit more CUTI-CAL on them as you use the foot file. I'm going to turn so you don't have to stretch that leg quite as weird. Is that okay like that? I need it closer. Better.
That's good.
So I'm going to wipe some of it off now and then use the foot file, and then I'll rinse it off better after I've got some of that foot filed. I'm just going to keep this wet towel here to catch some of the foot filing.
Karen asks, what does it smell like?
I believe it's eucalyptus. Let me double check to make sure I'm not telling you the wrong thing. This says spa-like fragrance. Do you want to check if it says on the profile if it's eucalyptus? So her heel has a little more callus. I'm going to use the little bit rougher side of the foot file to get the rougher callus on the heel. Remember, we're smoothing, not removing, so I want to leave just a small layer of the callus.
Just says wonderful spa-like smell.
Yeah, it smells really close to eucalyptus, so if it's not eucalyptus, it's very similar. I've switched over to the smoother side to finish out. And you want to look at the grain of the skin and go that direction to finish. So you don't have those little prickles sticking up when they go to walk on carpet. Nothing is more frustrating than to pay for a pedicure and go home or go to the hotel and you walk on carpet and your feet stick to the carpet like Velcro because they left those little dry parts of your callus sticking up. That is so frustrating. And then up here, there's not as much callus, so I'm not going to use the rougher side. I'm going to go straight in with the smoother side. Oop, just kidding. Here's a spot right here. I'm just going to get this one spot with the rougher side. And then smooth. Oh, hello. There's a hidden spot here that's like a little treasure trove of callus. So I'm going to put a little extra stuff on it. Because once I hit it with the file, it's like, hey, I'm callous, I'm not skin, I was just hiding. That was very sneaky. She gardens barefoot. But she uses enough lotion that her callus isn't awful. Her callus is even smooth. So it tricked me. But once I went over it with the foot file, it was like, I'm actually callous. Hi. I still don't want to be really aggressive with it because it's actually a nice smooth callus. And it's there to protect her feet. So I'm just smoothing it. Because it's well maintained. And you want to pay attention to things like that. If you have someone that frequently goes barefoot and maintains their callus well, you don't want to aggressively remove a lot of that callus because it's almost like an invisible shoe on their foot. You just want to gently maintain that callus.
It's actually when I ride horses, that's where my foot sits in the stirrup.
Oh, nice. So then we super don't want to get rid of that. Or your feet would be really mad at me. You would never let me do them again. Alright, feels like we've got everything. So I'm going to switch out the towel with all the feet stuff. And get a nice warm. They're still warm, I'm so happy. And this one's a little more wet so that it for sure rinses off all the CUTI-CAL. And make sure I get in between the toes, because it's a spray, it got in between the toes. And then rinse the entire foot really well. And I didn't have to put a lot of elbow grease into that foot file, and the CUTI-CAL did the work for me. That's always nice when you don't have to use a lot of elbow grease with your foot file. And hooray, we won't have laundry. I'll have you bend this knee. And you can either hang out with that one or you can put it on the floor, whichever one's more comfortable. And I'll bring this one up. And I always throw in a little bit of a foot rub between product transitions. That's just what puts the in spa.
Yes, Karen, I love to ride horses.
Just grabbing that heavier callus off the heel with the rougher side. And then smoothing it with the softer side. Same thing across the top. You got a blister here, huh? It's two sides of the blister. Popped it.
Didn't know that.
This is a big one. That's the size of a nickel.
Fresh?
Nah. The sides of the skin are dry, so it's been a little while.
That's the downside to having neuropathy in your feet.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what you don't want to feel, and you don't feel what you should feel.
Yep. And that's another thing about the client consultation if you have a good conversation with your clients about medical issues or concerns that they have, your clients that have neuropathy, you should always err on the side of caution when it comes to the temperature of the water if you're doing a foot soak, because they're not going to be able to tell you if the water is too hot for them. So you should always go not too hot. Like, even if you think, well, this water isn't all that hot, what doesn't feel all that hot on your hands is a lot warmer than you think on someone's feet. Because feet are more temperature sensitive than hands. If you need to, you can always get a thermometer to see what the actual temperature of your water is. Especially if you know you're going to be working on diabetics or anyone that could be prone to neuropathy, which would be anyone that's ever had chemo. Chemo is a huge cause of neuropathy.
Karen asked, does your daughter have a horse?
Mine, she does.
Good job, Karen.
She is on her third horse, actually. The horse she has right now, she got from a rescue. And she's trying to teach it not to be afraid of everything. And I'm worried to death that it's gonna throw her. Because it is afraid of everything. But she's got a big soft heart. And she wanted to rescue it.
Lots and lots of groundwork.
Yep. And likes playing with the calves. It thinks they are all his babies. I've never seen a horse, especially what do they call it when it's a boy but it's not a boy anymore?
A gelding.
Okay, I've never seen a gelding so maternal. It's the funniest thing. So I think I have irritated the skin enough.
Karen, the term is neuropathy. I'm not real sure. I think it's
Yes.
Neurothy.
Use your voice to text. It will spell it for you. But it is N-E-U-R. It's essentially when you start to lose the feeling in your hands or feet, with the exception of a pins and needles sensation. Kind of that feeling when your hands or feet fall asleep and then they start to wake up and you get that really painful, like pins and needles feeling. That would be neuropathy. This one. Perfect. we have done our CUTI-CAL, that would need to be scrubbed. And keep in mind, you should always scrub your tools with soap and water. And for things like this or my curette, I like to use a scrub brush to make sure I'm really getting all the stuff out of the little nooks and crannies before I put it in the disinfectant. And the cool thing about the step-by-steps from Famous Names is they mention portions on their step-by-steps. So here it mentions using approximately 2/3 of a teaspoon of the DADI Scrub Gold per foot. Actually, it's 2 to 3 teaspoons, not 2/3. Just kidding. And it's per foot and leg. And so depending on if you are doing to the ankle or to the knee, it's completely up to you. When you're doing this dry, depending on the type of space you're using, you could go to the ankle because of the mess, or if you have the space that accommodates it, you could go ahead and go to the knee. So for the space that we're using to accommodate the mess, I'm gonna go to the ankle. So I'm gonna pull her out. And something you wanna keep an eye on is the comfort of your client. Just a little bit more of that. A, make sure you're warming up the scrub so that you don't shock them out of their comfort zone. And B, make sure they're not holding their leg up. If you've ever gotten a pedicure, and if you've never gotten a pedicure, you need to go get one, please. If you've ever gotten a pedicure and had to hover your leg in the air, whether you thought you needed to and just did it because you were silly, or you had to because they weren't supporting your leg well enough, it's very uncomfortable. And by the time you leave the pedicure, your thigh cramps a lot for the rest of the day. And that takes a lot of joy out of the pedicure. So you want to make sure that you are somehow resting their leg in a manner that they realize they can completely let go of all the weight of their leg, that you've got it. And so while you're scrubbing the foot, use whatever you use for a footrest to rest their leg. Even if you're going to take the scrub up the leg, make sure while you're scrubbing the foot that their leg is resting on the footrest. Then when you go to scrub up the leg, rest their foot on the footrest so that they completely rest their leg instead of trying to hover their leg because they don't think you can handle the weight of their leg. Make sure you really focus on all the calloused areas with the scrub. One of the most ignored areas, whether it be the scrub or the massage, is the heel of the foot. For whatever reason, people just kind of glance over it. I think because it's kind of difficult to get to, we really have to bend over and get down in there to get to the heel. And so a lot of times it's just kind of a cursory, swipe the stupid heel. Like, really make sure you're getting in there and getting that heel, because that's what needs a lot of attention. Then you also want to make sure that you're really scrubbing the side where it gets callous and the balls of the foot. So I'm kind of getting in here and using my fingers to really scrub that side and that underneath ball of the foot. And then same thing on the other side. I'm using my fingers to scrub that other side and that ball of the foot. And then taking this hand to scrub basically the underside of the toes and the rest of the ball of the foot. Make sure you're really hitting those areas that you just went over with the Callus product and smoother to hit all those callus areas even more with the scrub. Because those are the areas that really need the extra exfoliation. And you want to hit those before your scrub starts breaking down. If you notice that your scrub is just a little bit like dry, or your client is kind of flinching a little bit, you can soften the scrub by adding a little bit of water. If you're doing a dry pedicure, you could have a dish of warm water that you can dip your hand in, Or you can have a spray bottle. You could spray the scrub in your hand to dampen it down a little bit. You also want to ask your client a yes or no question. Is this scrub too aggressive? Is it too abrasive? Does this hurt? Does this feel okay? You don't want to give them an open-ended question. Let me know if this hurts. Do they usually let you know? No, because they don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want you to feel bad. But if it does hurt, what's going to happen? Tell me. I'll wait. If they don't like something about the service, they're not going to tell you because they don't want to hurt your feelings, but what are they going to do? I'm going to leave this pretty wet and drape it around that scrub to start breaking it down while I scrub the other foot. Bend this knee for me. Did anybody tell me?
Mm-hmm.
The client is going to complain to their friends. And say, ugh, that scrub was so hard, it killed my legs, it made my feet hurt so much. They're not going to tell you, they're going to tell their friends. So make sure that you ask them a yes or no question. Is this scrub too rough? Does it hurt?
Question, Holly, sometimes I actually prefer to crouch on the floor to carry out a pedicure on clients.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not really prudent? Is it okay, or is it a no-no?
As long as you are dressed professionally, your pants aren't gaping open with your butt hanging out, and your shirt's not gaping open with your boobs hanging out, the position or placement of where you sit is fine. As long as you're comfortable and your back isn't killing you or your legs aren't killing you, it's personal preference how and where you sit to perform the pedicure. You got a good comment back.
She asked, has your client nodded off?
She's thinking about it.
I'm in the zone, Karen, I'm in the zone.
She's not allowed to nod off because she has to read me your comments. Something about salons that have more than one person doing pedicures, if you are working on a group, it's really important to stay in tandem. Make sure that you are doing things together. So if you have a line of pedicure chairs, have a clock on the wall that is not too far above the client's heads so that everyone can look at the clock together. The scrub should have the same amount of time. So everyone should be able to look at the clock and time themselves. Whether we agree on, hey, everyone does the scrub for 3 minutes or everyone does the scrub for 5 minutes, it should all be the same amount of time. And just a fun little tidbit, for those of you that caught this live, the replay of this is only going to be available to channel members. I'm going to edit pieces of it to put out on Facebook and Instagram and on my free channel content. But the full live version is only going to be available to members, so you got a sneak peek. So good on you. And thanks for joining me. I really appreciate your time. It's been fun having you. Another place you want to really make sure you focus is on that proximal nail fold to help exfoliate that. And that's also a retail opportunity. This is a great time to mention. A lot of times they're like, oh, I wish you could do that on my whole body. You can actually purchase some DADI scrub. It's a great exfoliating scrub to have in the shower. I would love for you to take that home and have retail DADI scrub so that they can purchase that to take home. This is the DADI Scrub Gold. It has the AU complex in it. So this actually contains some urea, and that is going to help further break down the callus and make the skin even softer. Urea is an amazing product for anyone with a little extra callus and dry skin. Quite a few of the relief products have the allantoin and urea in them. So all of them, when you see them mentioned on the Famous Names products, Facebook or Instagram, and they say they have the AU complex, the AU complex is the allantoin and urea. Start breaking down the scrub. And that is the DADI Scrub Gold. And I'm going to use this towel to scrub it off my gloves. Actually, I'm going to pull this out and use the little cup of water to scrub it off my gloves. This does not feel amazing to get your massage and have little scrubby beads of exfoliant in your massage. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, those little grainies are not comfortable.
No. Does anybody like exfoliant in their massage? Little scrubby beads? You're getting this nice, amazing massage and then right up your leg in the middle of it. It's like, what? What's happening here? I didn't agree to that. Probably should have brought a change of pants. Alright, bring this way.
Karen, I'll excuse you for your misspelling because of your late hour. She misspelled calluses.
Ah, that's an easy word to misspell. That and they may spell it different there. They spell it different in England.
Yeah. That's your story and stick with it, Karen. That's how they spell it in New Zealand.
Yeah, there are some words they spell different. smells so good here, you guys. I'm ready to go back to bed and just like aromatherapy us. Get the scrub out from between the toes. If you were applying regular polish, you would apply that after the lotion. If you're applying gel polish, you would apply it after the shaping and cuticle work before any of the spa type products. And these warm towels I left just a little more damp so that they would help dissolve the scrub and help make it easier to remove the scrub. And I believe that it was correct when I read it the first time, 2/3 of a teaspoon of DADI Scrub Gold per foot.
What did you say you apply after the lotion?
After the lotion is when you would do normal nail polish. So if you were gonna do a traditional polish versus a gel polish.
So just to verify, gel polish before and regular polish after.
Yes. Now, if you were going to upgrade this to the Platinum Pedicure and do the CBD ELIXIR, let's say you have someone with fibromyalgia, someone with aching knees, someone with sore legs, someone with aching feet, etc. This is the point that you would add that CBD ELIXIR and do that upcharge.
And I will be taking a bath in that product.
There's CBD DADI lotion if you would like that. If you need it for your whole body, it would be more cost effective to use the lotion. Hands dried off. Just gonna apply a couple drops of the oil so that I can massage that in.
Can you state again like how much extra the upcharge might be?
Yes, Famous Names recommends for the CBD ELIXIR to do an additional $8 to $10 US. Drip some daddy oil on her toes. Massage that in.
Karen says, I bet your feet are smiling now. I'm not sure because my eyes are closed.
And then we're going in for the DADI Lotion Gold. Make sure you include the heels in your massage. And I always apply a little bit to the knee, even though I'm not going to massage the knee, because knees are always dry. You can go ahead and rest that one.
Holly threatened to pinch me if I started snoring.
Do you have any questions? Just pedicure questions in general. If you're new starting out, something that will help you with longevity is not to use your thumbs excessively in your massage. Learn to use your whole hand, your knuckles, your palms, your heel of your hand, not to do the whole massage with your thumbs, or you're going to cause that aching and carpal tunnel in your hands sooner and lose a lot of the strength in your hands for your massages. So try not to do the entire massage with your thumbs.
Do you use toe separators when you apply polish?
Yes, I use those little individual toe separators. BFF Mel turned me onto them. I cannot remember what the name of them is, but they're literally like one little U-shaped piece. And so you can use one or you can use four. And I will come back through the comments and drop the name of them if you need it. Or if you know what I mean by that, let me know. And this one for me.
How do you get on with feet that are ticklish?
When you have ticklish feet, you need to use firmer strokes. More pressure doesn't tickle as much as a light pressure. So try using your entire hand versus smaller points and try using more pressure. When I do her second foot, I'll kind of show you some tricks. But usually more pressure helps, and stay away from in between the toes. Kind of massage the toes as a whole versus individually. Ticklish feet usually have trigger points, and kind of avoid those trigger points and use a lot of pressure. pull this one up a little higher so you can see. So if she were really ticklish, I would do more, like bring it up a little higher so you have access to more of your hand. For the toes, instead of coming in and massaging each toe individually, I would rub them as a whole, like put one hand behind and rub them as a whole. Instead of coming in and rubbing each toe like this, rub them as all the toes at once. And then rub the entire foot, either with the palm of your hand, depending on what triggers, or you can rub with the fist of your hand, but use firm pressure. Like if you need to kind of put your shoulder into the pressure, like lean in and put your whole body into the pressure if you need more strength. If you find that just like pushing on it by yourself isn't enough strength, what you can do is put them on your other foot so that you can lean your whole body into your arm and give it more strength, and that will give you more pressure into that hand. And same thing if you're trying to rub open-handed. If you turn a little bit and put them on that opposite leg, you can put more strength into that arm. And if you need to, you may not be able to massage that arch where it's more ticklish. You may have to massage that outside and just barely hit that arch with the heel of your hand because you're massaging more of that outside, and stay away from the inside of that arch. You might also be able to massage some of the arch by coming in this way and massage the outside of the arch versus going down under the foot. Come at the arch from the side with the heel of your hand and massage more this way to kind of still sneak in some massage work to that arch if they're really ticklish, without setting them off. Excuse me. And then for the toes, again, just kind of maybe even squeezing them between your hands if the toes are really what sets them off. But just kind of avoiding doing that individual toe massage because usually the toes are where the ticklish spots are. Does that kind of help give you some ideas?
That felt amazing.
So those techniques are model approved. They're no less effective than the other techniques, apparently. Any other general pedicure questions I can help with while I'm rubbing? Because we're about to pull the plug on the live. So this is your chance. And while you're here, if you haven't already done it, please hit subscribe. I'd love to have you as a follower on YouTube.
What happens when you can't get the toe separators?
So if you can't get a hold of toe separators, what you can do is take a Kleenex or a paper towel and literally roll it up and thread it through the toes. You can also use small decorative pieces of rope if you would rather use like a soft style of rope. But I've used rolled up tissue, rolled up paper towel that's really soft, and used that in a pinch. I've also cut my soft landings into strips and used my soft landings because they're really soft. So there are all kinds of ways you can improvise toe separators.
What if their toes are ticklish or the toes are stiff and just don't relax?
as far as getting toe separators in or for massage?
I believe she's still referring to toe separators.
Okay. So in that case, I would suggest the tissue trick. Did you see Kleenex this year anywhere? I feel like there weren't.
I haven't looked. Yeah.
Let me grab one of my stock landings and turn it into about the size of a Kleenex. And I'll show you how that works. Because that could work for someone that's ticklish because they're not very thick if you use a tissue.
What about a paper towel?
Those are scratchy.
But just to demonstrate with.
I think these would roll up more like a tissue.
Okay.
Paper towel's too stiff. Those paper towels are too stiff. In the salon, I would use like the cloth like Viva ones. Because they're soft like a tissue. And like, you can't get the cheap paper like Kleenex. It's gotta be like a soft Kleenex. Oh, these don't tear. Can you grab your scissors pretty please? Are they handy or are they way packed?
They're in that box underneath that blue shirt. But we gotta be careful which pairing. Not those. Not those. Not those. What else? What other pairs in there?
This one?
Yeah. Those are fine.
Like this?
Mm-hmm.
So if this was a tissue, I would just roll it. And you could cut one down the middle so that you have a section of it for each foot. And then loop it through. And even if the toes are really stiff, because a tissue is so delicate and flexible, you can still get it between the toes. And they're probably gonna flinch and giggle while you're looping it through if they're really ticklish, but you can get it through because it's so delicate and flexible. Does that make sense?
She has a friend that has melanoma cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd really like to give her a lovely pedicure.
Mm-hmm. Chances are good she may have some neuropathy issues going on, so just be careful with the temperature of anything. If you're using warm, wet towels, make sure they're not too warm. Touch them to the inside of your wrist like you would with a baby bottle, and make sure they're not too warm on the inside of your wrist if you're doing anything warm. And also, like on scrubs, make sure that you're not scrubbing with your hands too hard, that you're being very, very gentle with a scrub. And just little things like that, be really, really gentle.
She says, thank you.
You bet. Any other questions before we sign off? Any product questions? Did you guys like the Relief Pedicure?
Well, I highly recommend it.
Show them a close-up of your feet before we sign off. See how soft your legs and your feet look. Good night, Karen. It was good to see you. Nice shiny legs, nice smooth feet. I wish you guys could smell this product. It smells amazing. And there's the cool box that it comes in. And oh, it'd be so nice if YouTube was smell-o-vision. Wow. All right. We'll check you guys out later. Sleep well, Karen. Have a lovely day, everyone else. And thank you so much for taking the time to hang out.